Is the Pokemon market boom over for now? Over the past few weeks, you've probably been seeing, not just from me, but from other videos and content creators going through, talking about the market falling, crashing. What's it doing? What's going on? And like the bubble bursting was another one I saw. No, I mean, it is going down, absolutely. I mean, I've seen my stuff, my sealed stuff, especially my singles and slabs, go down in value. And it's looking like the boom itself is over, right? I think it is over, and I think that's fine, right? It's been an incredible year, been a really interesting year. I wanted things to go back to where they used to be, just because it makes it, I just like product to be available, not just for me, but just for everybody, right? It just makes it more fun, more exciting, more accessible, and it's what the hobby's about, right? That's the whole thing. It's kind of weird. A lot of my people I know have stepped away from the hobby as well because of this year, getting hold of product, and they kind of described it as being like toxic and everything else, right? They just don't enjoy it, which is fair enough. I mean, it definitely has become that over the past 10 or so months. It's been pretty bad this year. So for me, I'm like, okay, well, you've got the Mega Evo sets, you've got the Phantasmal Flames as well. And if I'm being honest, I think Phantasmal Flames, I don't know if you saw one of my recent videos, but I genuinely think that Phantasmal Flames is and going to be a flop. It's going to be a Obsidian Flame 2.0 or Dancer Blaze 3.0, and it's going to be the start of the downward trend, I think, of Pokemon going into 2026. A lot of people thought, including myself in a way, that things would ramp up until the 30th anniversary. I just don't think it's going to hold that long. All it takes is one or two sets that are mid to bad, and it will just cause a huge correction. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get people that go along, like scalpers and things like that, flippers or whatever. They're going to come in, or they already are in, and they're buying up everything. If they go and buy a lot of this product from wherever it is, from local game stores, online, wherever, and like take Prismatic or Destined Rivals or whatever, and they try to sell it, and they're selling them for 2-3 times the value. Now what's happening is, even if you look at Mega Evo, okay, Mega Evo booster boxes are currently sat in the UK around about £200 for the non-enhanced version, which is still above MSRP. But if you bought it at MSRP and you were trying to sell it, you're going to get like £40 profit, okay, at the end of the day for selling that box, which isn't too bad. Destined Rivals was very different, right? Destined Rivals, you could have picked, if you did pick it up at retail, you could have easily doubled your money, if not a little bit more. And that's what was happening. And people were like, oh my God, this is amazing. Same with Prismatic. People were picking up Prismatic ETBs and flipping it for double the money. And we were seeing it across the board. And I've actually seen a decent amount of Mega Evo about. This is actually, that was probably the first real set, I would say, this year where I've actually seen ETBs on shelves. That hasn't happened before at all this year, right? I've never seen Prismatic in the wild. I've never seen Destined Rivals. I saw a very small amount of Journey Together and a very small amount of Black Bolt White Flare. Never an ETB of anything. It was like loose packs, or it might be like a mini tin, or maybe a booster bundle, or a collection box. It was never anything like an ETB. In the wild, I have seen at retail ETBs of Phantasmal Flames. I have seen ETBs of Mega Evo, both the Lucario and the Gardevoir variant. I've seen booster bundles in the wild at retail, and I have not seen booster boxes. That's the only thing I haven't seen, is I haven't seen booster boxes. But I have seen the Mega Charizard Ultra Premium Collection box in the wild at retail, which I actually managed to pick one up. So I now have 2 of them, but there is limitations, okay? A lot of places are putting limitations on, which I think is a great idea. It means that a lot more people can get hold of it. Until things calm down, then we'll start to see limitations lifted. But until then, I'm all for it, okay? So here, like I say, here in the UK, I would say right now, mega sets are a lot more readily available. Anything else, like the back end of that Scarlet and Violet era that came out this year, is like next to impossible to find at least a decent amount of at all. So that's one thing as well. But overall, I do think that the boom has ended, right? The boom has ended maybe 30-40 days ago, or started to end 30-40 days ago. I recently went to a card show, vended at a card show, and everything I had, like all my inventory, I had to price down. For the first time this year, I had to actually price stuff down. And I would actually say a lot of the slabs and singles were priced probably anywhere between 20 to 30% less than I did from the previous show. And the previous show was like a month ago. So in 30 days, roughly, you are looking at a 20-30% drop across the board pretty much in modern slabs and singles. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Now with sealed product, slightly different. It is going down, but at a much slower pace. I've noticed certain like Pokemon Center ETBs have gone down in price. For example, the 151 Pokemon Center ETB here in the UK was selling for roughly around £700. That's now dropped by around about 80-ish pounds, 80, about 10 or so percent, 15% is pretty much how it's dropped down. You can get it for 600 at some places on eBay as well. Stuff like that has dropped. Another example is booster boxes. So Destined Rivals has retracted. It did reach £400 at one point, and now you can get it for around about 320. So again, you're looking at around about 20% drop there. A lot of stuff is happening. A lot of stuff is dropping. Of course, things are still expensive. I think until we start to see product go for under MSRP, then I would say that we're definitely, I would say healing, right? We're definitely getting back to where it used to be. And that's good. And I think we will get there. But I think we just need a few more very bad sets, okay? Of course, we just had the announcement of the new set, Ascended Heroes, which I think, again, would be another set which will not be massively popular. I don't know whether or not Pokemon are printing more now of the mega sets, or there's less interest. That's why there's more of it available. I don't know what is the difference, okay? Did they print more of Mega Evo and Phantasmal Flames than they did, say, Destined Rivals, than they did, say, Prismatic, or they did with Joined Together? I don't know. But it definitely feels like there is more of it around anyway, which is great, right? It keeps prices low, makes it easier for people to get hold of, and I'm all for it. So we're going to have a quick look on TCG Player at a few sealed product, and we're going to look at also a couple of singles as well, which have been going down in price that did see a big boom this year. And we're just going to see like what are good pickups potentially. But I mean, yes, the boom is over. Will it come back? I think we will. You know, this boom kind of happened a little bit with the Pokemon Pocket release at the back end of last year. We had a boom with Pokemon Go, and the pandemic caused one as well. There were so many different things that have happened, and yeah, all it takes is a couple of like really good sets as well, I think, to really bring people back in. And the new games, right? And I think we'll have a little bit of a boom when Gen 10 games drop as well. So whatever they're going to be, I don't know what they're going to be called yet, but when they come out as well, look at what might happen to the market, and there might be more people coming in. That also has an impact as well. So keep an eye on it. You know, the boom is over for now. Will it be back? Absolutely. So let's take a look at a few products and a few cards and see what's been going on. Obviously, the first one is Phantasmal Flames. The set has recently come out, so I do expect things to go down. And we are seeing that, right? So we're seeing it at $280 from a high of $340 for a pre-order price. And we are now starting to see that we do have a little bit of a drop. I would expect it to drop even more, if I'm being honest, because, well, there's a lot of this set about. And like I say, I kind of feel like they printed a pretty decent amount of Phantasmal Flames. Prices are very easy. It's such a small set. We knew this was going to happen anyway, so the card prices are falling through the floor. That's also going to have a massive impact on the overall value of the set, which means booster boxes will continue to fall. Over here in the UK, what has been going on regarding Phantasmal Flames, so we can get a better idea, of course, of what is going on. So we had a booster box here, which recently sold for £200. That has actually gone down. The pre-order price for this was probably similar to like Mega Evo, so it's about $240, $250 upon release of the set, and the set hasn't been out that long, like a week or so. So we have seen a pretty significant price drop, to be honest, of around 30, probably about 40, 50 pounds. So that's actually quite a big drop, and I expect it to drop even more. I do. We got ETBs here for 65, including postage. So again, that has gone down. That was around 80, 90 pounds. So that has dropped a fair bit. Half booster boxes, fantastic if you want to open up stuff. They tend to be probably one of the best cost-effective ways right now. The fact is you can pick them up for like basically 90, so two of them together, 180. That's already cheaper than a booster box if you want to open it. Half booster boxes are a fantastic way to go. And then we've got another booster box here for like 190. We also have even more ETBs here for about 60 each, which again makes it a bit more cheaper. You got a Phantasmal Flames booster bundle for 30, including postage, which is actually reasonably cheap. That's £5 a pack. which is actually pretty good. That's probably one of the cheapest. That's very close to retail, actually, which is fantastic. Another ETB here for 55. That one's dropped. Again, 2 half booster boxes for 180. We got another normal booster box here for 175. So things are actually, going down. ETB plus a booster box for 260. That's a pretty good price. Pokemon Center ETB 130. That one's dropped even more. So yeah, honestly, just fantastic stuff. So Phantasmal Flames is going down. On to Mega Evo. So Mega Evo is another set I mentioned as well, just to give you guys an example of what's been going on. I think they've printed more of this, compared to other sets. So 260, this has dropped, quite a bit, right? High from 340, similar to Phantasmal Flames. Similar story, has been dropping now 250. I actually think it could go to 200. I genuinely do think we can get to a $200 booster box. It's going to be difficult because the value in Mega Evo is way better than Phantasmal, and because it's such a large set and tough pull rates. So I do think Mega Evo will probably hold better, I think, than Phantasmal Flames. We look at the Mega Evos, we've got the enhanced one here. We're going to look at the enhanced booster box. We're looking at 225. So that's actually gone down. This was about, with the promo, about 270, 280. So it has gone down about 60. We got another enhanced one there for 230. You got Mega Evo there. So enhance, 225. So you're looking at about 225. Enhanced booster box for 200. That's crazy cheap. So yeah, honestly, I think it's pretty good, 200. So we are seeing a big drop, of course, with Mega Evo, which is fantastic. And we've got the Mega Charizard UPC. So we're talking about things that are getting probably more of them out there. Like I said, I've actually seen this on shelves. This one here, 188. Wow, that's fallen a lot. So we're looking at 384 if you bought it for nearly $400. But look at it now. Over the past month, gone from $300 down to $186. I think it's going to fall even more. It feels like there's more of these out there. It really, really does. It feels like there's more of these out there than they were with the Prismatic SPCs. That's how I genuinely feel. And there's no way you can tell me that this was not as hyped or excited as the Prismatic SPC. I just think they've printed more. I genuinely think they've made, a hell of a lot more of these. And I do expect it to fall. The promos are okay. I mean, the promos at the moment, the value here is, you're probably looking at about half the value of the box is the promos, but I think that will continue to fall as well. The pack selection is very, very strong in this product, but I just don't think it's enough because they've printed a lot. But over here in the UK, we got about £200. So it's actually more expensive over here than it is in the US currently, which is wild because, like I said, I have seen these out in the wild on shelves at retail. So I'm not being funny, but if you are, go out there and find them because there are some. I actually saw some the other day. Still had 6 of them in stock, 1 per customer, but they had 6 of them. So, and they've already sold some, so they had a good chunk of them. They're sitting on shelves, and that was literally a couple of days, maybe 2-3 days after release. Interesting. So, just keep that in mind. But £200, is it worth it to buy at 200? I'm going to say, if you're going to keep it sealed, I think it'll be fine regardless, long term. But if you could open it, I think you could probably wait. I think it'll actually drop. You got 185 there, 200. Like I said, there's a lot of these out there, guys. There is a crap ton of this being printed. And I think there might be more. I genuinely think they'll do more of this one. Just like they did with the original Charizard UPC. I have a feeling that we could see more in the future. But yeah, so we are seeing a huge correction right now on a lot of the new products. A lot of the new stuff from Mega Evo, I think they are printing more. And I also think we're going to start seeing Scarlet and Violet era stuff start to fall. We have seen some already, but I do think we're definitely out of the bubble, or we're definitely out of the boom, shall I say. Okay, we're going to look at a few big heavy hitter cards and give you guys an example of stuff that was been going up and is now starting to go down. So we've got Team Rocket's Mewtwo from Destined Rivals. We know Destined Rivals is still pretty expensive and still hard to get hold of, but this one has been falling. So it did reach a high of nearly $600, and it is now dropped down to $480. So in fact, we've even had one here which sold for $425. We are seeing a quite significant drop. I mean, $175 is a big amount over the space of 2-3 weeks. So for me, about 3 weeks. So for me, I do feel that's a huge, huge interesting thing to see. I mean, you can see here, if we go back over the last 6 months, it's still up, of course, over the last 6 months, but it is taking a dip, right? It is taking a bit of a free fall there, dropping, over $100 in value in a matter of weeks. And I do expect it to drop more, right? If they do print more and more Destined Rivals, put more Destined Rivals in other products, we are going to see a full correction price on the Mewtwo. Okay, then we've got the Pikachu from Surging Sparks. Now, this one's had a really interesting journey, but this one is up, which is pretty good. It's gone up a little bit over the last 3 months. Take a look over the last 6 months. So it had a bit of a dive. There was a reprint of booster boxes, so you'll probably see, you know, a little bit of a boom there. More copies sold. It's trickled back up. We go back over the past year, and it's still trying to get back up to where it once was a year ago, which was over $400. Again, the Pikachu is going down. It's on its way up a little bit, you know, from that 250 now to 270, but it is falling. And again, if they make more Surging Sparks or put more Surging Sparks packs into things, we could see this continue to fall into 2026. We'll take a look at the Big Bubble Mew, of course, one of the biggest cards in the Scarlet and Violet era, Paldean Fates. So this one, we go back over the last 6 months, this one's done very, very well, of course, and it's still doing really well. Paldean Fates just hasn't really been reprinted, unlike some of the others. We're now seeing a lot of these type of cards from these sets start to do really, really well, or continue to do really, really well. These ones are kind of protected in a way from the decline and the boom. We'll be looking at cards, you know, we have been looking at cards, of course, from sets which are expected to either get reprinted or have been restocked in other forms. But yeah, Bubble Mew is very good. Let's take a look at the Umbreon, actually. This was the other one to talk about. So obviously Prismatic is heavily reprinted over in the US right now. UK, it just hasn't been touched. The Umbreon, the price of this is a bit all over the place. But let's take a look. 6 months. So 6 months, it's bounced back a little bit. It did actually drop down to 800, and it's creeped back up to around about 900. But let's look at the most recent sold. So the most recent sold here, you're looking about $1,000 actually. So we take away this one's Korean. We look at this one here, 1.1k, 1k, all over 1k. So I would say this card is probably around about $1,000. It has gone up by about $200 over the past month and a half, but it's still got to try and get back to where it once was at the beginning of the year when it came out, where it's about 1.5k. Still very, very expensive. It being at 1k right now is very, very good, and it is starting to get a bounce back, even though tons of Prismatic is getting opened. It's because the pull rates are so bad. It's so difficult to find this card, and it's an Umbreon, and yeah, you know the drill by now. So for me, I genuinely feel like this one will probably be mostly protected from a slight decline. And then a quick look at Sword and Shield arts. We've got the Lugia V, which did see a big boom this year. We go back over the last 6 months, and it has seen the huge boom. It's coming down slightly, a little bit, not too much, but it has come down slightly. Over the past year, it has done relatively well. Very well, in fact. It's gone up by 107%. Very sure how strong this year has been. We're mainly talking about over the last month, and we are starting to see a little bit of a drop. Not a huge amount, nothing to worry about there. I do think Sword and Shield arts are, because of their age, is somewhat got a little bit of protection for them, which is pretty good. They're more of a safer bet. We've got the Giratina art as well, so this one will be an interesting one. So over the past 6 months, it says 400. That seems, they've got some all over the place. So the most recent one was 600. These are different language and other stuff. So $600 there, $560 there. So we're looking around about $560 or so, give or take. That's not accurate at all. So not too bad on that one. And then let's talk about the Umbreon to finish things off. Let's take a look. So again, I think the price of this is going to be very, very skewed. I don't think when you start getting to like cards like this, it's going to be very difficult to judge what has been sold because very, very little has been sold. You got Korean there, which influenced the price. So it is about 1.7k for the Umbreon, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, very, very strong performing across the board. There you have it. I think Sword and Shield arts are pretty good, and I think they're the safer bet, but we are seeing a lot of stuff maybe 2024 into 2025 that saw this huge boom and this huge surge. I do think we're now going to start to see a slight drop across the board on singles. And yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to see. Like I say, a lot of stuff has been falling. I think it's temporary. I think that when we get the next generation game, and of course around the 30th anniversary, we might see a little bit of a surge, or certain things go up. You know, for example, celebration stuff could go up again when we get closer to the 30th anniversary. And then if we start seeing a set where they do another Eevee-based set, or they might do a set based around, I don't know, Rayquaza or whatever it may be, we might see a surge. I mean, who knows? They could end up doing... for the next generation, they could bring back tag team, and then all of a sudden all tag team cards start going up in value like they did with Megas. So it's going to be interesting to see what will happen But yeah, right now things are cooling off. The market, it will take some while, I think. I think probably maybe another year until we get back to things being at MSRP or under MSRP, but it's going to take a while. I think it's going to take a while. It's going to take a few pretty mid to poor sets to really shake things up. Guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments regarding this situation right now. Do you think things will get better? Let me know your time frame. How long do you reckon it'll be? I'm going to say a year. I'm going to think 2027 we'll start to see a real big change, but I think we're going in the right direction. Hopefully things will go down and become more available. That's what I want. I just want it to be more accessible for everybody. That is it from me, guys, in today's video. If you made it this far in the video and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe for more Pokemon content. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. You are the legends, and I'll see you in the next one.